Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Harshita and today I'll go into detail about my 14-day CAPM exam preparation schedule. As I mentioned in my last video that I passed my CAPM exam with above targets on my first try in every section, and I have already shared 5 important topics to start your preparation with. I'll be focusing on time management and the key ideas from each chapter in today's video, which you must follow if you want to ace your exam. I can give you the guarantee that if you will properly study all the key terms that I am about to share, you will be ready to ace this exam with the excellent score. In order to begin my preparation, I first divided the number of hours I was supposed to spend on each exam section. You can see on the monitor how I divided up each chapter and how long it should take to finish it. As you can see, I had to put in a total of 28 hours of study time to finish all the chapters. The number should be rounded up to 30 hours. I studied for 6 hours every day for 14 days. As a result, I finished the syllabus in 5 days. I then dedicated an entire day to my numerical preparation. So that day I studied and practiced answering questions about float calculations, earned value management, risk calculation, and other topics. I left with 8 days after spending 6. These 8 days were very essential to my preparation. I used to spend the first 2 to 3 hours of each day reviewing the material I had already learned, and then the final 3 to 4 hours were entirely dedicated to practicing mock tests. I have discussed the value of the mock test even in my earlier videos. So I followed this preparation schedule of 14 days that helped me to pass the exam. Let's now discuss the key ideas from each chapter that you must remember in order to succeed the PMP or CAPM exam. So I have noted down chapter-wise topics that you must know and you cannot miss them. So the chapter 1 in the PMBOK Guide 6 is Introduction to Project Management, which will take hardly 2 hours to complete that. Now in this chapter, you must know what is project and what is project management. You should be able to explain the 5 project management process group and the processes within each group. You must know the relationship between portfolio, program, and projects. You should be able to differentiate between the project life cycle and the product life cycle. You must know the key terms like work performance data, work performance information, and work performance reports. Now let's move to the chapter 2, which is project environment. It will again take hardly 2 hours, or I think that you can do it even in 1.5 hours. So you should know the different organization structures like functional, projectized, and the matrix. And the second is you must know the role of the project management office. It's also called as PMO. So you will be seeing 1 or 2 questions from this chapter in your CAPM exam. Now the chapter 3 is the role of the project manager, which will take you approximately 2 hours to complete. You must know the role of the project manager. You should be able to identify the major elements included in the PMI triangle. PMI triangle is nothing but it basically shows the technical skills, strategic and business management and leadership skills of a project manager. Now you also know the code of ethics. Now in the chapter 4, I think it's the longest chapter of the PMBOK Guide 6, which is the integration management. You can do it like in 3 hours, or maybe if you find it difficult, you can give another 2 hours on this chapter. You must know why you use the project integration management. You should also know the role of the project manager, team, and sponsor. You must be aware about the project selection methods like benefit measurement methods or the constraint optimization methods. You should also know the concept of planned value, net present value, internal rate of return, payback period, benefit cost ratio, return on investment, and opportunity cost. You should also know the change management process. So change management process is nothing but whenever you are receiving a change request, how you are going to implement that. So first you have to see that if that change is necessary or not. Then you will try to find out the alternatives as well. Then you will also determine the impact of that particular change to the cost, schedule and resources. And then if you want to implement that change, or if you want to discard that change, you go to the change control board. So this is all about the change management process. It will not take more than 30 minutes to complete this process. Now, chapter 5 is scope management, which will again take like 2 hours to complete this chapter. By the end of this chapter, you must know the concept of project scope management, why you are using it, why it is important for the project. Then there is a term called as work breakdown structure, work breakdown dictionary, and the smallest element in the WBS, which is work packages. You should also know the group creativity techniques and the group decision making techniques. And at the end, you must know the concept of requirement traceability matrix. Chapter is chapter 6, schedule management, which is going to take 3 hours to complete. You should know the concept like Gantt chart, network diagram, leads and lags, rolling wave planning, analogous and parametric estimating, schedule network techniques like critical path method, critical chain method, Monte Carlo analysis, PERT diagram, calculation of float, and the schedule compression technique, which are fast tracking and crashing. This fast tracking and crashing is very much important topic for your exam. You are going to see 1 or 2 questions based on this. Now the next chapter is cost management, which will take around 2 hours to complete. You should know what is project cost management, why we need to use cost management for a project. Then you should be able to differentiate between planned value and the earned value. You must know the concept of earned value management. You are going to see the questions, I think the numerical questions based on this. Like you have to calculate the planned value of a project or a earned value of a project. Now you should also know the concepts like law of diminishing returns, working capital and depreciation. Now let's move to the chapter 8, which is quality management. This is again a very important chapter. You must know project quality management. You should be able to know the terms or define the terms like customer satisfaction, grade, precision and accuracy. There are concepts like total quality management, Kaizen, deeming cycle and Kanban. The most important topic of this chapter is cost of quality. There are 2 types of cost of quality. One is conformance and non-conformance. Then there are 7 basic quality tools you must know, which are control charts, cause and effect diagram, flow chart, histogram, Pareto diagram, scatter diagram and check sheets. You should also know the concept of Six Sigma. Let's move to the chapter 9, which is resource management. This chapter is not going to take much of your time, but yeah, by the end of this chapter, you must know the definition of the project resource management. Then what is the difference between functional manager and the project manager? Then there is a term called as responsibility assignment matrix and RACI chart, resource histogram. Then you should know the Tuckman's stages of team formation, which are forming, storming, norming, performing and adjourning. Then what are the powers of a project manager? Then you should know the organizational theories. There are 5 to 6 theories that you need to study under this. Then the 9th is the leadership styles. So let's move to the chapter 10, which is communication management. So under this chapter, you must know communication methods, technology, channels and communication model. Now next is chapter 11, which is risk management. In this chapter, you have to study about the risk responses. So once you will study this chapter, you will find out there are 2 types of risk. One is positive and the another is negative. Then there is a key terms like risk averse, risk tolerance and risk threshold. You should be able to calculate the risk. There is a formula for that you need to study and practice. Then the concept of decision tree is very much important for your exam, and SWOT analysis. Now the chapter 12 is the procurement management. So in this chapter, you should know why this procurement management is necessary for any of the project. Then what are the types of the contract? Then there is a key terms like request for information, request for proposal, request for quotation, request for bid, purchase order, SOW, which is the statement of work, and then quotation, non-disclosure agreement, letter of intent, terms and conditions, privity of contracts. So you must know all these terms, or at least you must have studied these terms once for your exam. Now the last chapter is stakeholder management. So under this chapter, you must know the classification models that we use for stakeholder analysis and stakeholder engagement assessment matrix. So there you will get to learn about the power grid matrix or the power influence matrix, like that. So I'll also include a link to this PPT that I have used in this video in the description. I'm hoping that this video will be useful to you. Please share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to hit the like button if you really enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can see my upcoming videos as well. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. Take care.